Hi, everybody. Thank you, Matt, for that introduction. And wow, Michelle, you are a legend. I can't believe this is our first ever webinar together. Number one thing people always say about me when I first started speaking was, "Do you know Michele Krause? Have you two actually met? Your energy is very similar." So I'm pumped. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm also just feeling fantastic that you and I are able to do this and be on our very first webinar together with hopefully many more to come.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw it back at you and we'll get going here.
Yeah, we will. And, when we were thinking about the content and putting the structure of this webinar together, some of you may have seen the M&M show where we talk about, Michelle does an amazing sort of energy movement. I give out a mindset tip and we always have a fun sort of magnitude question. And that's the M&M show. And that really has been quite an amazing experience for me, especially during this, this tough time. And so I thought, how should we start this webinar? Well, we should definitely start with energy movement. What do you think about that one, Michelle?
That's always my favorite thing to do. And as you can kind of see, I'm actually standing. The chances of me sitting will be pretty slim to none. So for many of you who are on this webinar, maybe today you've been sitting at a computer working or sitting at a computer studying. This is a great way. So we're going to loosen up the upper body, the neck, the shoulders. This is a great way to warm up for the serve. So you can actually do most of this sitting down, but we're going to start out nice and easy. So we are going to be just looking forward, and what I'd like you to do is just very gently, you're going to turn your neck right and left. And make sure when we do our exercises that you're not holding your breath. Now we're going to take the neck and we're going to bring the chin down to the chest, and then we're going to let it relax back. And then forward, and then back, nice and easy. Some of you might hear some popping or creaking going on. All right, we're now going to go into shoulder shrugs. So we're just going to lift those shoulders up to our ears, nice and easy. Yep. Now we're going to do a nice shoulder roll. So we're going to big range of motion. We're going to roll those shoulders forward. Now we're going to roll them back.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and we're breathing. Yeah, excellent. All right, now I'd like you to bring your arms up. You can kind of make like a light grip, or you can have your palms open, and we're going to do a side stretch reaching over the top of our head to the other side of our body, and we're going to alternate this. I'm standing, so I like that because I get a nice range of motion all the way down the side of my body. Okay, great. All right, then from here, what I'd like you to do is we're going to position our arms like so. My shoulders are at 90 degrees, my elbows are at 90 degrees. And I'll do a side view here. You can see that my hand is even with my ear, more or less. And we're just gonna press the hands and the forearms down and back up with external rotation. Nice and easy, slow and controlled. Excellent, looking good, Emma. All right, now from here, we're gonna hold this position. And this is called wall slides. So you can pretend, if you're near a wall, you can back yourself up against the wall, or you can pretend. And when we're doing this, let's make sure that our shoulders are down and back. And what we're gonna do is keeping the elbows at shoulder level, we're now gonna extend the hands above our head, stretch up, and then pull those arms down, squeezing the shoulder blades. And we're going up and down. Again, you're pressing your body against the back of a wall. You might start feeling some shoulder fatigue here. All right, now we're gonna do single arm. Okay, this is good for shoulder mobility. We're gonna do 4 on each side. Great. And then we're gonna work the opposite arm. Good. All right, and then we're gonna do some big arm circles. We're gonna go forward. Yep, and then we're gonna go back. All right, great. All right, well done. So that is your warm-up / mobility for, you can do this pre-serve. And again, always great to do at the end of the day when you've been on the computer or other devices a lot. So Emma, I'm going to throw it back to you.
I love that, Michelle. Thank you so much. While Michelle was doing that, I know that I was doing them sitting down, and it's just a great way, even if you were, say, running late for your match and you are driving in the car, maybe stopped at the lights. But again, just a great way to get the shoulders moving. So just while I start the PowerPoint, I'd just love to know where everyone's checking in from. So everyone listening, wherever you're checking in from. So I'm in Denver at the moment, in beautiful Colorado. So we'd love to know, and if you're a player or a coach, just type in the chat box there, where are you checking in from? Australia, Deep Hemmons on the line. Yes, what do we got? Rock Springs, Wyoming. I love it. I haven't been there yet, but would absolutely love to. Michelle, do you want to keep reading out where people are from while I get the PowerPoint going?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a friend in Minnesota. I think they have better weather now, and it looks like Bellevue, Washington. Bradenton, Florida, that's my neck of the woods. So I am in the Sarasota, Bradenton area. I reside very close to IMG Academy. We have India in the house. We have Canada. So thanks for joining us. Southern Cal, Houston, Texas, DC, San Diego. It looks like we have a very nice global audience. So again, welcome to everybody, and thank you for joining us.
All right, so let's get stuck into why we're here today, which Matt has said, which is get a grip on your serve solutions and energy up. Not just Michelle and I, not just our unique energy, but also the energy of the serve, and of course what comes after that, which is the first shot. We know how important it is to practice not just the serve in isolation these days. And of course, there's our YouTube channel. And if you do make it to the end of our webinar, which we hope you all do, then we do have a special little holistic home tricks little handout, 2-page handout. And that's your little reward for staying with us all the way to the end. So without further ado, perhaps you might be able to relate to some of these challenges on your serve. I know I certainly have done over the years. Number one, we can't practice right now. We're all in the same boat. Okay, maybe some people, especially down in Florida, may be hitting a few more balls than the rest of us, but most of us are haven't been able to practice that much anyway over the last sort of 2 months. Maybe you're struggling to, you just want to get a little bit of extra pop on the serve. I mean, don't we all? Wouldn't that be nice? And one of my most common questions that I get asked a lot is that the ball travels down, as we know, on the serve, but the energy goes up. So we're using our legs and we're using our whole body to go up, yet the ball goes down, which kind of doesn't really make that much sense. Because I don't think I've ever said snap your wrist on a serve before in my life, in my coaching. So, my whole philosophy is about that energy going up and up into the contact. And we're really here today because this presentation, what we really promised to deliver on today is, of course, giving you some practical home strategies. So I don't know whether you can relate to this, Michelle, but certainly the new norm is these home practice solutions. How do you feel about that?
It's not my favorite, but we're going to go with it and we're going to embrace it.
We're going to embrace it because there's lots of little things that we can do at home to complement, of course, what you do on the court. We're going to give you practical strategies. You're going to walk away with minimum of 8 practical tips that you can utilize at home and on the court. And we're going to be doing that in a holistic approach. We're going to be taking that sort of approach today. That's one thing I know. There's a lot of content on just technical on the serve, or it's just physicality. Today we're going to cover all of those 4 areas, which we'll get into in a moment. And of course, we want to have lots of fun. So we want it to be interactive. So just in the chat box, if you sound like you're in the right place, just give us a go, yes, please, we're in the right place. Just let us know that you're here, that you're excited, and you're ready to learn more. So Michelle, have we got anyone doing some fist pumps? You could read that chat box better than I can.
We got some hellos. We have some more friends from Mexico, Australia, and Scotland. So welcome to them. We've got a woohoo.
I love that. I love that. Fantastic. So the next little challenge, or mission, as I like to say, should you choose to accept it, of course, is we're going to ask you who can write in the chat box again as fast as possible, what are the actual 4 holistic approaches when we look at our game. So when we're thinking about our game, we're setting goals and we're looking at what we want to improve, or perhaps what are we really good at, our strengths as well. What are those 4 key areas, and the pictures give it away a little bit, and that we might want to focus on. So have a go in the chat box, typing that in. And as you type that in, I'm going to, if I may, I'm going to share a little story just about my own serve and the evolution of my serve, just as people have time to throw their ideas in, the 4 holistic approaches into the chat box. So when I was younger, my coach at the local tennis club in Australia, he said to me, Emma, I want you to throw this tennis ball as far as you can. And I don't think he thought I'd make from the baseline to the net. You know, we're talking like 7 years of age, 7, 8 years of age. And so I said, oh, can I take a run up? So I went back to the back fence, took a run up to the baseline, and I threw the ball not only over the net, but it almost cleared the back fence onto the next court. And he said to me, he said, wow, he said, you've got an amazing throw. How come you don't have a very good serve? And I was only little, and it stuck with me. And I do think my serve over the years was quite average, because I was constantly thinking, with the serve, my energy's got to go forwards like a throw, instead of realizing the importance of throwing like up and how critical that piece is. So, Michelle, how are our answers looking in the chat?
We've got some lovely answers. One of our good friends and colleagues, who it's not quite fair, Miss Deanna, she knew the answers, which I'm not going to mention just yet. We have some other good answers, including things like teamwork, technique, fitness, strategy.
Love it.
I'm going to give the winner award to Deanna. She hit the 4, so I'll let you reveal what those 4 exactly are.
Fantastic. So obviously you can see that I've worked hard since then on my Nike position, minus my facial expressions on my serve. But number 1, you've got technique. So, you know, we're always looking for that obviously that 90 degrees in that nice trophy position there when the ball's at its highest peak. We've got Michelle there. She's going to be definitely taking us through some awesome physicality movements to enhance our serve, and just the importance of the leg drive, really important on the serve rather than the knee bend. I'm not a huge fan of the knee bend, but that using the legs and really popping the legs up into contact. Obviously, number 3, the holistic approach, we've got our tactical ability. So we're looking there at the concepts around serve and first shot, as we know that average length of that rally being only 4 shots in both the men's and the women's game. And finally, just that last picture of the Junior Fed Cup team 2018. There we visualized on the top floor of the hotel every single morning exactly how we wanted to play and be that day as a team. So mindset. So we are actually going to finish, once the energy comes down, we're going to let it all sink in and have a little visualization, just only 60 seconds to 90 seconds, because of course that is our mindset tip for today on the M&M show. So how does that sound, Michelle?
I'm so excited. Let's get at it.
All right. So our first core component there within the holistic approach, of course, is technical. So if you've got a racket handy, I'd love you to have a go at this with me. But if you don't, you can certainly try it, you know, when you get a moment. And that is one of my all-time favorite tests, and it's called the swoosh test. So I've got one of these cool little serve right rackets, certainly from on-court, off-court here, but it's got a little whistle in the top. Now, you don't necessarily need the fancy whistle at the top, and I've got my molded continental grip here, great for 10 and unders. But just listen, you know, the swoosh is the sound that the strings make through the air. So whoosh, whoosh. So now I won't do my sound effect, but basically I'm going. So that whoosh, that little whistle sound, if you do your full motion, I want you just, if you or if you're a coach, have a think about where you hear the loudest sound of the swoosh. So is the loudest sound down by your ankles? Is it above your head? Is it more around eye level on your follow through? Or is it somewhere near your hip, your knee, or your opposite ankle? So maybe coaches, just if you could type in the chat box, and players, if you could type in the chat box, if you had a chance just to do that while I was explaining it, where do you think, let me start again. Where do you think most players, especially let's say intermediate players, where's the loudest swoosh sound? So just type in the chat box there. What do you normally hear? Where do you think it normally is? And then maybe in brackets put down where you think it might want to be. And let's see how we go there with some answers. Michelle, how was the chat box? Is it looking super full?
Super. So one of the questions is, pronation is coming up quite a bit. We've got at contact. I know in some cases I have seen people, I have worked with people that probably the swooshing is happening right down in here.
Yep.
Right? Which I'm sure you might address. Overhead, when the racket head is kind of getting at its peak. So those are great answers.
They are absolutely great answers. And of course, those of you who get an opportunity to practice the swoosh test, if you hadn't, it's a great shadow activity, can be done at home. And of course, we want the sound to be loudest just before contact or around that contact point. And all of those concepts that people are talking about certainly helps, pronation helps to align the racket head at contact. And if you do that, obviously just before contact, it helps to make that swoosh sound loudest. Where do I hear it the most with recreational and intermediate players? Around the knee on the follow through. So usually well after you've hit the ball is when the racket's traveling and makes the loudest swoosh. So what can we do about it? Well, here are 3 activities that I'd love to share with you straight away. So in this first activity, just another great way to warm up. And often you'll see baseballers holding two bats, and they'll be using that just to loosen up and just to warm up. Another thing that you can do as well is put one of those old school racket covers on the top of the racket head, and it just again creates that feeling of that wind and a great little warm up. So this is activity 1 you can do at home. So you don't necessarily need, again, one of these really cool sort of serving socks. Feel free, I've got even a pair here. And just fill it with a couple of balls at the end of the sock. Now, in that demonstration I just did, you'll see I'm releasing the serving sock up. So it actually goes end over end. Absolutely brilliant activity to help the energy go up. All right, and I'm just going to flip back there so that we can get a good look at the second one. All right, so that's a serving sock going end over end. All right, so the next one, the second activity that you can do at home, we start in a salute position, and you're actually holding the grip and you're choking it up the racket like so. And so from here, all you're doing to help you with your energy up, after you lift the ball, you're just shining the butt cap up towards the contact, and then you're finishing with the butt cap up towards the contact. So again, my elbows up, a great little activity we see, obviously Sampras being one of the most amazing models, showing that energy going up with that bent elbow rather than having a straight elbow. And it's like a conductor, nice and loose, nice and relaxed, okay? And again, it's a small ball lift, butt cap up, and then over, shining up to the sky. And then finally, the last activity, I'm using the really cool snap racket there as well. The last one is actually, as you can see, after I'm making contact, I'm leaving my head facing up. So looking at a target that is up near where your contact point is. See how my energy in my head on that one is facing up. So I'm snapping the racket snap, and I'm keeping my head up at the contact point up there. So just in recapping those exercises, we had the serving sock, the half serve, and the eyes up. So 3 of my favorite sort of technical activities that you can do at home that really complement the lesson And I'd love to, if anyone has a really quick question on any of those activities, we've definitely got time at the end for more in-depth questions, but any of those questions, Michelle, or from the chat box that you want to jump in there?
So Emma, I see a question here. It is, do you feel that serving is more of a lower body or an upper body sport?
Yeah, it's well, it's definitely, you need both. There's no doubt about it. The kinetic chain definitely starts from the ground up, and the legs definitely influence a lot of what happens for the rest of the movement. Having said that, so much of my work in developing junior players, 10 and under players, we take the legs out of play. They haven't yet developed the strength and the coordination, and the kinetic chain is still developing. And so it's really important that the rhythm is developed first, and that, you know, getting that nice trophy position when the ball's at its highest peak in that nice rhythm is really important early on. Great.
And just one more question before we move on. So in reference to the ball release.
Yep.
Do you prefer the word toss or lift?
Yeah, so the cue is to lift from the shoulder. So if you're doing any ball lift practice, then make sure that you have the racket in your hand. You never want to just practice the ball lift in isolation. So the two arms are always working together. And when the ball release, what's really important for me is that you're lifting from the shoulder and then you're releasing around eye contact level.
Okay. Excellent.
All right, so again, we've got questions time built into this presentation at the end. So moving right along now to the second core component of our holistic approach. So Michelle, I'm going to kick it over to you now to continue.
All right, great. So we are going to talk about the physical. Again, as tennis players, regardless of what the stroke is, we want to be physically strong and powerful, and we always want to try to be as injury-free as possible. So the activities that you're going to see now are going to benefit the posterior chain. Your posterior chain is the back side of your body, so your glutes, your hamstrings, your lower back. And we're also going to address hip mobility. Again, the better mobility we have in our hips, the better athlete we will be. And then of course, shoulder stability. You know, the shoulder is a complex joint. There's a lot going on there. It is susceptible to injury, so we want to make sure that it is strong and stable.
All right, so I'm going to play this video, Michelle, if you want to talk through the hip bridge progressions.
And I'll talk through, and if we need to go back, we will. So here's me demonstrating the hip bridge. So this is actually hip bridge hold. So you notice that my hands are to my sides, my feet, the heels of my feet are close to my rear end. And what I'm doing is I'm pushing up through the heels and lifting my hips up at the same time as I squeeze my glutes. All those things are happening together, and you can hold that for a couple seconds. Okay, we're quickly going to go into hip bridge march. Can you pause, Emma, here?
I can't actually, because okay, otherwise
we'll come back if we need to.
Yeah.
All right, so you can see that I've gone into the hip bridge position with my hips lifted up. And now what I'm doing is I'm literally marching in a lying down position. And I'm alternating the feet, which is going to create instability issues. Then we're going to go into the hip bridge with the knee tuck. Now from here, I'm starting with my hips and my back on the ground. And at the same time, I'm lifting my knee and my hips up and pressing that knee into my chest. You can use your hands to kind of hold on and pull in more closely, or you can do it hands-free. So again, I am challenging my stability anytime I do single leg exercises. Then we're going to go into the single leg lift. So again, I will start from the up bridge position. I will extend one leg and I will push the hips. Sorry, we start from the down position. I'm going to push my hips and my leg extending straight up. So these are, they're somewhat challenging exercises. They are really critical for serve and overall tennis development. And candidly, the hip bridge progressions are critical for daily functional living. And again, what it all comes down to, yeah, we're talking about the serve today, but we want to be able to do daily functional activities. So that is our hip bridge progressions. Okay, we're going to move into our next physical activity, which is going to be our squat with 90-90 external rotation. So we did a little bit of this in the warm-up. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set yourself into about a 3/4 squat. So you're not squatting low, knees are bent. Okay, and then you're going to get those elbows and those shoulders in your 90-90. I am using tubing with handles. Okay, and then you're going to externally rotate the shoulders back. We've got 2 viewpoints here. I also changed my band. This is a TheraBand. This has kind of circular handles on it. I wanted to give you the side view. Notice that the elbows stay up high. My back of my palm comes about even with my head to my ear. I'm squeezing everything. I'm engaging my lower body as well as my upper body. So this is a great multi-body part exercise. All right, now we're going to go into, again, we're getting into that quarter squat position, and we're going to go low row. So using, you see me using the TheraBand, and I've actually incorporated the TRX. So here with the TRX, I was not in the low squat. The first video I was. This last video, I'm actually adding a squat with the row. The thing is any form of this exercise is optimal core muscle activation. You're using absolutely everything. Now, if you do not have bands or a TRX, because that is possible, kind of a trick is, believe it or not, you can, to create some resistance, you can actually use a bed sheet. Now you can take that bed sheet. So one, you got to make sure like it's a decent bed sheet, that it's not all tattered and torn, and that, you know, it's going to be able to handle resistance. And then what you can do is you can wrap that. You can see here, I'm at my house, and that is a post pylon. You could wrap the sheet around something that is like a post. Or be careful, I'm going to say this with caution, you can put a knot in the bed sheet and you can throw it over the door and close the door as an anchor. But you have to make sure you have a sturdy door. You have to make sure you do a good knot, okay? So I would be very, very cautious with that one, but I think that taking the bed sheet and wrapping it around a post or a pylon is really your best bet there. All right, so that was our squat with low row.
Beautiful. Michele, so if I could just ask a quick question. Your technique, by the way, and your form was absolutely brilliant in those videos. I know when I sometimes do them, my shoulders and elbows aren't exactly that perfect.
Yeah.
And that's okay, everybody out there. So quick question, with regards to the shoulder blade, and especially as it relates to the serve, when you are doing those exercises, is there a cue that you can think about, or what should the position of the scapula, the back of the shoulder blades be?
I'm going to do a little demo here if possible. So cues are going to be, so this would be shoulders up, right?
Yep.
And especially tennis players, we're always being hunched. We're at our computer. So this is shoulders down, and then this is shoulders back. So see, actually, if you roll the shoulder, you can get into that down and back position with the chest. Okay, you know, pushing out, and you're going to squeeze those shoulder blades. So down and back are your best cues. If you noted in the video, sometimes you saw me looking towards the camera, and I was doing that for a couple reasons, but one was because I was trying to see my form. All right. It's nice if you have a mirror. It's nice if you have a coach, because when your technique is correct on these exercises, you're going to just have so much greater benefit. And then that will ensure that you are also training and affecting the correct muscles.
Well, thank you so much for that. There's the summary of those 3 exercises there. And, you know, I think, Michele, also on the daily M&M show, your definition and your explanation of every activity is very thorough, and it makes a lot of sense. And I think, as you mentioned, that the posterior chain, not only for the serve, but, you know, we do a lot of those hip bridges. I know it certainly helped my lower back
Sure.
over the years.
Right. So it's gonna help increase the strength in your lower back, and nobody wants lower back pain. And again, I know we have people of all ages on this webinar, but as we get older, can we bend down? Can we pick up our child or our grandchild? Can I put the groceries up on the shelf? That's functional daily living movement. So.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so we'll move into the next section, which is, of course, our next core component, which is tactical. So we want to have a little bit of fun with this one, and it certainly does link to our visualization. And I know, I certainly believe in, especially helping with the Girl Power camps, we do a lot of work with regards to rhyming and little serving songs and helping people remember patterns of play. And I'm going to show you a video in a minute, but certainly if you can see here, we've got the court broken down into 3 laneways. So there's laneway 1, and then where my cursor is, you can see this is the tunnel of the court, and then this is laneway 3. So I just show you this picture first to really highlight that this activity and the serving song works when the serve obviously goes, say, for example, out wide. So the first part of the song, serve wide. So I've served wide. This little person's come over. Now, this works well when they return back into the center or into the tunnel of the court, because then the next shot goes, as my cursor is, you can see, into laneway 3. So it's serve wide, and then the return comes back into the tunnel, and then you hit it into the open court. So pretty much that's how that goes, and I'll show you a video of that in a minute. So it's serve wide, hit open court. Then the next part of the song is serve T, hit back behind. So it goes, this person, as you can see my cursor, I serve down the T, this person's come across, they've hit it back down the tunnel, and then using my forehand, my backhand, I could be left-handed, I could be right-handed, it actually doesn't matter, whatever your strength is, and then I'm looking to go back behind the player. And then the final part of the song that we're all going to sing. And, I think if I wasn't a tennis coach, I would want to be a singer. Is that?
You can be a singer, Emma. I will not be a singer. I can dance, can't sing.
Well, I'm not sure I can do either. But what we're going to do is we're going to give it our very best, the voice. And we're going to have a go at, so I'm going to say it and you're just going to say it back to me and maybe we'll sing it. But just the final piece there is serve body, watch opponent. So as you can imagine, serving into the body. Now, if that little person goes this way, if they were right-handed and they choose to hit forehand and it goes down the tunnel, then I'd hit back behind. If they chose to hit a backhand, if they're right-handed, off backhand there, or a left-hander's forehand, and it returns into the tunnel, then I would go open court. So double thumbs up if that makes sense. Love it, love it. All right, you ready, everybody sitting at home? And let's keep you still all muted, and we'll embarrass ourselves first. But certainly feel free to give us a rating out of 10 for our singing ability in the chat box. We said we were going to have lots of fun, didn't we?
Here we go.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Serve wide, hit open court.
Serve wide, hit open court.
Serve T, hit back behind.
Serve T, hit back behind.
Serve body.
Serve body.
Watch opponent.
Watch opponent.
And no, we're not going to do that again.
Never.
And we're going to, ever. But it's amazing how it will stick in the mind. All right. Yeah. With a lot of players that I, especially with those teenage players that I've worked with, just that little serving. All right, let's get into the video. Michelle and I will stop singing now. So as you can see, Riley serves it wide. That's gone just into the tunnel and he's gone into the open court. And the player in the red shirt down here, he's caught it in his opposite hand. Great little drill. And you can catch it off the racket. He wasn't able to catch it on the racket, so the other person gets the point. So it's pretty much serve, return, first shot, and then catch. And if they can catch it in that opposite hand, then the returner gets a point. If the server is able to hit a clean winner, 1 point. If they can force the error, then they get 2 points. So again, I love that concept from a forcing error. We've got serve down the T there. And even though he made an error, he went back behind. This one is a serve almost into the body, and then he went in back behind. Did he catch it? Yes, he did. So the returner gets the point there. Let's see on this next example. We've got serve. He went, you can see to the body, he chose forehand. So he goes back behind. Did he catch it? Did he catch it? He dropped it. So the server gets 1 point for that one. Final example. Now that one, even though that, see how that return didn't go into the tunnel? Okay, it didn't go into the tunnel, but the default, if it doesn't go in the tunnel, of course, which the server did, is to go back cross court, especially if the ball's deep. If the ball's short, then the player could go anywhere. So there's lots of little variations of that activity there that you can do. But just, are there any questions around that, Michelle, or any in the chat box just around that pattern? I think I can see it.
One comment, Emma, from me is I love that exercise because you add the catching component into it. And people that know me know I'm a uber fan of all catching and tossing skills. That kind of takes it to another level. So really love that. Where we've been asked if the drill is posted somewhere. Well, that will be on our sheet, right, Emma?
And what about we put it on our YouTube channel, Michelle? What about I throw just that one?
There we go.
All right. How about that? I'll post that one up on the YouTube channel. And that way you have to subscribe to the M&M show and we'll give you the link. And
I just put the link in the chat bar. So the link to our YouTube show is right there. So
yeah, give me 24 hours and it'll be up there tomorrow. Okay. All right. And our final component, even on the M&M show, we believe in mindset. We believe in linking a holistic mindset tip every single day. And obviously for me, I think this is critical time where you've got maybe perhaps a little bit of extra time that you might not normally have at home. And the mindset visualizations that I've been doing for players have just been tremendous around the world. They've just, people are loving them. And so I'd love everyone to actually experience this mindset right now. And it will be based on those tactical little serving patterns that we just showed you. Remember, you have to see it to be it. And when you do visualize, look, just a couple of little quick tips. Uncrossing the legs, uncrossing the arms. So have the arms nice and relaxed if you're standing. If you're sitting, again, just no crossing anything. And just try and really do everything with all your senses as we go into the tactical pattern. So I'd love everyone to join me now. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Today's M&M show anyway is you have to stop for 60 seconds. So I'd love you to join me in the next 60 seconds in just being still and just focusing on the sound of my voice. As we take a deep breath in through your nose and out. And on your next breath, if you haven't already, I'd love you just to gently close your eyes now. And as you just take a moment just to stop and be still and connect with your breath now, I want you just to take a moment to imagine any of those serving patterns. Pick your favorite, pick your strength. Perhaps it's the juice court or the ad court. And just hear the sound of the ball as your energy goes up into the serve. See where it lands. And then see yourself getting in great position as that ball comes back down the tunnel and hitting it into that next direction. As we raise our shoulders to our ears and take a deep breath in through our nose. And gently opening your eyes and shake your shoulders out now. And just coming back into the room and back into joining us. Now, again, that was 60 seconds and not a long time. And all of a sudden, you have the ability just to really strengthen your patterns, because one of my favorite quotes actually by Andre Agassi, and I love this about the serve, is he said, "I faced a lot of great servers in my career, but I only ever played against one player who had a great serving game." And he was talking about, Andre Agassi was talking about Roger Federer and his ability to have a high first serve percentage on break points and game points. And, it doesn't really matter necessarily how fast we do serve it. It's about how we can put our serve where we want it under pressure during those big points. and certainly mindset and visualization can certainly help with that. So I hope everyone enjoyed that little activity there, as that concludes obviously our 4 holistic approaches. And we definitely have, you know, a good 15 minutes in a moment for open Q&A, which I'm really looking forward to. And, you know, just straight off the bat, again, we'd love you to, if you got something out of this holistic approach that Michele and I really believe in, please, there's our YouTube channel, please subscribe and join our Facebook group and get a daily burst of energy with us. And if you do that and subscribe, then I'll happily send you the 2-page handout here that goes through all of those exercises that we just went through. And you know, as Michele knows, and those who've seen both of us present before, we don't believe in anything unless you take action on one little thing that we might have said. That ball is in your court after Michele says her conclusion as well.
Train like a pro.
Train like a pro. The ball's in your court. Oh, I was trying to hit my camera. I missed it, and my PowerPoint went to the next slide just from the ball. Love it. So yeah, train like a pro, ball's in your court. And I'm going to turn off this PowerPoint, but if you did want to take a photo, our emails are at the bottom there. Now we're going to open it right up to Q&A as I stop sharing my screen now, and we hope you found the last 45 minutes valuable. It was certainly lots of fun. So yeah, let's open it up.
So
all right.
Go back. We had a question earlier from Ed. Do you think the energy of the server is based on their mentality, if they are aggressive or passive?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, on through Tennis Congress on YouTube, I have "Does your personality match your game style?" as a little. If anyone wants to really dive deeper into personalities and game styles, it is around 70% of the time your personality does generally match your game style. So there is some truth to that, but it's not a rule of thumb. That's for sure. There's certainly lots of passive people that have massive serves that break the mold all the time. So they're my thoughts on that one.
Well, I think I'm going to just generically speak to that point, which is, and more from the recreational level, that probably many people are not as aggressive as they need to be on the serve, right? And that transfers into good or poor acceleration skills. So one of the cues that I use is, tag it. Okay. Meaning, go up and tag it. Right.
Yeah.
And that can be a good cue for some people, and then they become a little more like aggressive in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. I love a little comment again from our mate D back in Australia. The serve needs to be practiced with purpose. And in Australia, only 4 to 5% of group lessons focus on the serve, and that needs to change. 100% agree. I think when we practice the serve, it's really important as well. I mean, if anyone's, if you are a player and your coach still spends the last 5 minutes of the lesson practicing your serve, potentially look for a new coach. I mean that in the nicest possible way, but if you can layer serving practice in, I'm really a big fan of that. If you've got a group of kids and putting it in the middle of the practice, I'm a huge fan of that. It's such a, it's a high technical skill. So, and not just practicing it in isolation. So even if it's a serve and you're visualizing your next shot, it's not just serve. And even another little cool thing I love for players and coaches, when you are practicing serve, put your basket or your what do you call them in America? Hoppers. That's it.
Don't hoppers.
In front of you. So, I mean, not too close, but, and so that your energy goes up and out. So love that one.
High pace, make them sprint to the service line.
Yeah, great. I love it. Get the cardio in there as well. All right. Darren, thank you for your question. Should we be afraid of the double fault? So from a mindset perspective, and again, can I, just a show of hands, everybody, be honest, put your hand up if you've ever been afraid of double faulting. Yeah. So it happens. and it happens to all of us. No one, we're human. So especially on a big point, you may think, oh God, I hope I don't double fault on this point. So one of the best tips around that and strategies that you can implement is something what I call anchoring and affirmations. So an anchor is a physical trigger. So the one that I like is I just put it behind, I usually have a vibration dampener here, or we can use the whistle. My thumb, my index finger, my middle finger, put them on, and when they touch the dampener, I just say, I can do it. And that just before the serve, so rather than thinking about, I hope I don't double fault, you're actually just allowing yourself to, okay, negative thought, I embrace it, there's pressure, there's always going to be pressure, that's life. But that helps you center yourself and just be really in the present moment. So I hope that answers that question. Have we got any other questions, Michelle?
I'm just going to add on to that last question.
Please.
Being afraid of the double fault. Let me remind everybody that the tennis professionals on the ATP and the WTA tour double fault. So it's part of our life. And if you use the mindset that Emma just explained, that will help you navigate those waters.
Yep. Beautiful. So I think we've
got one more here, I think, Emma, which actually I think is an excellent question. If you hit the serve up, but the serve is, we keep talking about up and energy up, but what stops the ball from going long?
Oh yeah, great question. Great question. Thanks for that one. And I love that because, it makes sense. Like if I'm telling you hit it up, then you're thinking, well, it's probably going to go long. Now, what I mean by energy up, so just to be super, super clear, what I'm talking about is the energy from the ground, from the kinetic chain all the way up. And I'm talking about from when I'm in my trophy position, when I'm driving my body up from my legs and even my hips, my ankles, my core, my chest, my shoulder, as I externally rotate this upper arm, then I internally rotate, and then the pronation just turns the racket up to contact on edge, like so, if you can see it there. Basically, when I get to that position there, my racket face at that point will be facing where it needs to. So the whole kinetic chain has gone up so that when everything aligns at contact, my racket face, if you can see it there, is actually facing slightly down. So great question. What do I mean by energy up? It's the use of the kinetic chain so that at contact, the racket face is actually facing where it needs to go. But great question.
And I'm going to see if I can do a little physical demonstration here.
Love it.
I'm going to try to back up so everybody can see my whole, and I really can't spin the racket because my, Emma, can you see my feet?
Yep.
Okay. So when I'm serving, again, Emma keeps referring to the kinetic energy. So we're pushing off the ground. The energy is coming from the ground. So as I load, all right, everything is coming up and forward. So I don't know if you're noticing, all right, but I'm a right-handed player, but what am I landing on? What am I landing on, Emma? My
left foot. Love it.
Leg, all right? So you saw the body itself going up and then forward.
And adding on to that activity there, Michelle, one of my all-time favorite things is when you land on that left foot to hop 3 times when you land. Because what happens because a lot of people, when they land, again, it's a bit like the swish test, they land and the energy is down. So actually having the chest and the posture up. So when I land, if you can imagine, I'm going hop, 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 hop 3 times on my left foot as quick as you can as soon as you land. Another fantastic little add on a little energy tip there as well.
That's great. And that also will work your balance.
Yeah.
So yeah. Excellent.
We've got 2 questions here in the Q&A. So this first one is, what's the most important part of the serve? You want to take that one, Michelle? What would you say from a physical perspective even? What do you think is the most important?
Well, I like that. Wow. Okay. So, I guess I'm just going to say if you have to break it down, because there's a lot of moving pieces there, but I'm going to go with contact, because even kind of if everything else goes wrong or is not smooth, I mean, the only way you can get, and there's different, you know, I can do a serve very incorrectly or very unorthodox. I'm making up words now. Orthodox.
No, perfect.
I don't know. But if I can somehow make contact, there is the possibility that I can get that ball over the net and in the box. I don't know how much I like or don't like that answer, but that's my answer.
I love it. I'm going to say, obviously, the whole purpose of this webinar was to have a holistic approach. So, you know, contact for me is under the technical box. Michelle's given you some amazing physical activities, which is so critical to helping. The tactical, the mindset of just being able to know what you're going to do with that next ball is critical. And then the mindset is number 4, and it sort of holds it all together. So again, if you just even worked on your mindset and being able to get yourself centered to be able to play points, especially under pressure, then, you know, that speaks volumes, you know, with regards to holding the 4 core components together. And we, you know, certainly the mindset is a passion of mine. So maybe that's why I answered that way. The next question is, please say something about belief in the serve process. Yeah, would love to touch on that if I can. And regards to belief, for me, belief is a build-up of self-esteem. So layer by layer, you build up your self-esteem, which gives you the confidence under pressure. So that's my definition of belief. And the only way you can get that is please practice your serve under pressure. Play a game against yourself. Give yourself player A, player B. And if you get your first serve in, 2 points. You get if you get it in, but not where you set it, wide body T, you get 1 point. If it goes in the net, -2. And if it goes long or wide, -1. And just play a little, you know, a game against yourself. Player A, player B, play 15 love, 15 all. So if you practice your serve under pressure, especially after you've maybe worked on something technical like that serving sock, then have a go at actually implementing it with that energy up. So, so that's how you build your self-esteem over time and focusing on your strengths. Anything to add on that one, Michelle?
I'm going to ditto what you said, and I'm just going to throw in another little game that you can play practice, which is one of my favorites, 7-11. So one person serves the whole game. The server has to get to 11 before the receiver gets to 7. So we're putting pressure on the server to hold their serve. So that will help instill belief in your serve.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. Next question is, on the slice serve, I've been told to hit around the ball, which is obviously very common. How would I implement the hitting up strategy into the slice serve? Thank you, Vikram, for that question. Absolutely love it. Now, of course, you know, if I'm teaching a slice serve and I want someone to feel the concept of hitting around the ball and cupping it, I hear that one a lot, then lifting the ball low and out to the right and feeling what that feels like to get that motion, I'm totally cool with that. As you advance, and as long as you have a continental grip, to me, the energy still goes up, and the biggest and the best thing that you can do to help you with your serve is lift that ball lift further forward on the juice court if you're a right-hander, to help you feel it's further forward, so your energy still goes up and forwards. And as you drive your body up and forwards, and if that ball lift is further out in front, naturally the angle of the racket face will be like so. Again, at this angle, like that, it will be like that. And that angle alone will help you slice the ball out wide if you are a right-hander on the juice court. Same concept on the ad court as a right-hander, lift it further forward, and that'll help you slide it down the tee. So obviously left-handers on the juice court, toss it further forward to help you slide it down the tee. And, you know, lefties love the ad court, lefty swing or the hook serve. Again, my philosophy, you still drive up and out, but you toss the ball further forward. How does that one sound?
Okay, you nailed that one, Emma. We can move on from there.
Move on. All right, let's, have you got another question for me, Michelle?
I think we are, Good to go.
Here we go. Amita, here we go. Thank you for tuning in. Love it. So, hi, what about finishing? How we encourage them to finish. Excellent. So, again, obviously depending on the level of the player, but a lot of the exercises that I shared from a technical perspective, after contact, if the racket is in that nice relaxed, it's got to be loose, this forearm nice and loose, and if the elbow is somewhat up and then it goes through up on the follow through, then that's a test to see whether the energy's gone up. If you see the arm is straight or the elbow's locked, often that energy's just gone forwards. So another way to see if we've really used that energy going up is that elbow to be up and that forearm to be nice and loose. So that's one thing I like. The triple hop exercise I shared before is another great way to finish. Anything to add on that one, Michelle?
Nope, well done.
All right, Q&A box opening up again. We have got Mario. Oh, this one could be tricky, Michelle. I'm nervous.
Uh-oh.
How far into the court would you recommend your players land, and what strategies would you give your players, let's say, if they are hitting it long consistently or into the net? I knew he'd throw me a curveball. Love it. So with the landing position, again, the number one thing that I need to know first is where are we aiming? So if I'm aiming my serve wide, then the landing position is going to be about 2 to 3 feet, depending on the height of the player, into the court on the deuce side for a right-handed player. If I'm serving into the body, then it's going to be, again, about half that distance. And if I'm serving down the tee as a right-hander on the deuce court, then I'm going to land about 1 foot inside the baseline. So again, depending on the tactical objective will depend on that landing position. And it will be, so for out wide, it'll be 1 foot for a lefty on the deuce court, body 2 feet, and then if you think down the tee, 3 feet. And then you can just map that out on the other side as well for righties and lefties. What was the second part of his question? Oh, yeah. Anything to add on that one, Michelle, before long or wide?
You answered that very well. I would also say you have to take into consideration the physical capabilities / limitations of a player.
Yeah,
so,
for
again,
sure.
Are we working with recreational players or are we working with high performance players? Because if in regards to what Emma said, that's going to apply a lot more to higher performance players. Recreational players, again, they're not training from a physicality. They maybe don't have the strength in the lower body. They don't have the ability maybe their plyometric skills are not as great. So I would just say take those things into consideration. A lot of times I'm coaching and I'm just trying to get the player to get over the baseline.
Mm-hmm. Yep, love it. And energy into the court. So if they can think up and in, I love the word up first, up and in. Yeah. And yes, certainly, Mario, just a quick tip on, and we can delve further into that offline as well, Mario, but in the long, toss it slightly higher, and in the net, just get under it a little more so we get up and out. We've got a question up around foot up, foot back. Oh, that's D. Yep. Would you take into consideration gender? Yes, absolutely. One of my favorite topics. As we know, the female body, the wider hips and the Q angle. So from the knee into the hips, we've got a slightly different angle there with the upper leg called the Q angle. And so foot up versus foot back is definitely, you need to take those things into consideration. We do tend to see obviously more female players with a foot up technique because it gives them a better position of which to be able to get under it with their hips and be able to push off the ground. But certainly happy to go into much more detail offline about that one as well. But hopefully that makes sense. The foot, when your foot's back, obviously it allows that platform to be more around, so you get more separation angle between your hips and your shoulders on the twist axis. which allows you, of course, to be able to get up and out as well. So both have advantages and disadvantages, but you definitely have to take gender into consideration. You have to take the hips and their hip dominance as well, and leg dominance. For me, they're the three critical things I look at, whether a player is going to be foot up or foot back on that one there. Hopefully that's not too much detail. All good?
All good.
All right, so we are almost on we're 2 minutes over.
I think Matt needs to wrap up for us.
That was amazing. Wow, that was so good. Thank you, Emma and Michelle. I hope everyone enjoyed that, and everyone for listening. Emma and Michelle will be able to follow up with you all in case you want more information in the recording. And yeah, thank you for your guys' time. That was super educational, high energy. And any last words for the audience?
Yeah, I would love everyone to type in chat box just one thing that they got out of the presentation. Maybe just one little thing they're going to take action on. Remember, train like a pro, and the ball's in your court. If there's anything just quick people could type, even if it's just energy, I don't know. But one little thing, if anyone wants to, the serving song, Peg. Thank you, Peg, for listening.
Hey, Peg. Shout out to Peg.
The serving song, see, it wasn't as bad as maybe we think. Positive mindset, fantastic. The hop, the triple hop, beautiful. Energy up and forward on the serve, love it. Dottie, thank you for checking in. Yeah, Michelle, it's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed doing a webinar with me. That was
lovely.
Yeah, I loved it, and I love doing the M&M show with you. And please, everyone, subscribe to our channel, and thanks for having us.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, everyone.
All right, take care. Bye.